I want you to picture a scenario where on Friday you spent $50 to buy a Commander deck, and on Sunday you found out that deck was worth over $20,000. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here to talk about something absolutely incredible, and another way, actually a little bit shameful too at the same time. But let's break it down. I do have people who watch my channel who know nothing about Magic the Gathering, and I do like to make sure we're all on the same page. So, to make sure everybody knows what the deal is, on Friday was the release of the new Commander 2019 product. Now, what I'm holding here is just an example, because this isn't Commander 2019, this is Commander 2018. But they're essentially the exact same product, obviously with some variants in terms of the cards that come in the decks, but overall this is a good physical representation. So you can pick up one of these decks for $40 to $50 American, if I'm understanding the prices correctly. I live in Canada, so the prices here are a little bit higher, but we're going to be dealing with American prices. Now, these Commander decks, unlike normal Magic decks, these are all one-ofs. So instead of getting 4 copies of a bunch of different cards, you get 1 copy of a bunch of different cards along with a big, oversized, special foily guy. Now, the new set of these was just released on Friday, so like 2 days ago. Now, what has happened? How do we get from $50 to over $20,000, massive amounts of people in a bidding war to get this deck from you? I mean, shouldn't they all be the same? What's so special about this deck? Well, it all boils down to misprints, my friends. Now, for those of you who don't know, especially people who may collect other things like baseball cards or whatever, when it comes to baseball cards and other collectibles, people want things in pristine mint condition. But when it comes to misprints and Magic the Gathering, there is a group of people who are very, very interested in misprints. And I can actually understand that. I used to collect misprints myself back in the day because they would show up very, very infrequently. And as somebody who dealt with a lot of Magic cards, misprints actually felt fairly special. Where it was like, wow, look at this. I personally am a huge fan of crimped cards. Do I have, I had some, damn, well, I don't have them right here right now, but anyways, I have some crimped cards, and what happens is the cards get caught in the booster pack. So along the top of it, it looks all crinkled up like a Ruffles potato chip, all right? That's the kind of misprint that's I like crimps the absolute best. They're my favorite kind of misprint, but I collected all kinds of different misprints just because I dealt with so many Magic cards, and the misprints stand out as special. Well, there's a whole group of people who specialize in misprints. In fact, there are Magic channels that are dedicated to misprints as well. So this is like a subculture. And the thing about the misprint community is they have a lot of money, and they will pay a lot of money for misprints, depending on what the misprint is. There's all kinds of different misprints that have different levels of desirability. I mentioned crimped cards. Crimped cards are actually low on the desirability scale, as far as I understand, from these aficionados. So, depending on what it is you get, if you ever get misprints, don't return them to Wizards before checking and seeing what kind of value you can get elsewhere. Because this individual could have taken his Commander deck and went, I'm going to send this back to Wizards and get a replacement. And then he would be out $20,000 more. Here's the thing. The bidding is still going on for this item right now. So it's worth more than 20 grand. It's probably going to close, I don't know, maybe 30 grand? I don't actually know what the roof is, what the ceiling is for this, because this is unheard of. If more of these decks surface, it will decrease their value to a degree. But anyways, you've got to be saying to yourself, look, you keep talking about this deck. Why don't you show it to me? All right, I will. Let's take a look at it. So what you're looking at right now is the most insane misprinted Commander deck I've ever seen in my life. The most insane misprinted any deck I've ever seen in my whole life. I have seen, in fact, I've even gotten a misprint deck of my own where all the cards were misaligned, where basically they were shifted downwards. Part of another card could be seen on the top. They have these little dots that they use up in the corners of Magic cards as well to align them, and you could see the alignment dots on the card, and I thought that deck was crazy. But what we have here is you're looking at the backs of the Magic decks. Now, there's multiple problems you will notice with the backs of these. First of all, the big brown circle is misaligned off to the left. But I'm guessing what you're really noticing is, wait a minute, is that art and text printed on the back of a Magic card? And yes, that is what you're looking at right now. All of these cards have been run through the print twice, essentially, where first they were printed on the, regular backs were printed onto the cards. And then on top of that, the front of these cards were printed on to the back of these cards. So you end up with these insane card backs where you can see, and I mean, you can't see every card in the image here. You can't see the entire deck, but the original poster has listed that, sorry, got the sickness trying to take me down. Fight it off. Fight it off. Okay, so the poster who put this up for sale has indicated that all of the cards are like this. The only exceptions are the full-sized cards, like the big, remember when I showed you the deck at the beginning? That gigantic card, the full-size, oversized foil things, those are fine. And the tokens in the deck are also normal, with nothing special about them. Now, the rest of this is all cards that are printed like this, and also 3 filler cards that were meant to be discarded when this deck was printed. So the entirety of the backs of all of these cards are printed this way. Now, these are so rare that there are people basically begging this guy to say, please, I can't afford to buy the whole deck. Would you please just sell me one of these back printed cards? I desperately want one for my collection. But that person's going to be out of luck. There's no way this is going to be sold off piecemeal when selling it in one chunk is going to net you the most money. And at the time of this video being created, the top bid for this deck is $22,000. And this is not some eBay thing where these bids don't get like put through and it could just be some kind of, oh, it's a scam, it's a joke bid. This is the real deal. These are the guys who have insane money. If you watched my recent video where I talked about the $3,500 Guru lands with the little guy in the water and all that, this is the same group. This group, I think, I could be wrong, but I think this group is the highest end misprint group there is and has the biggest wallets in existence lurking in it. I am so fascinated to know what this is going to go for as its end value, because this is unique. This is a unicorn. There are no other decks out there ever that have been backprinted like this. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen a card like this, and yes, we have like other examples of weird printings where you have the old medallions that actually have Charlie Brown printed in the back because they didn't clean the rollers properly. So there's actually Charlie Brown cartoons in the back of some of the old medallions from the mid 90s or whatever. So we have situations like that, but we have never, ever had a deck like this. And it's an absolutely amazing windfall for the guy who actually cracked this deck and is going to be netting the money. But on the other hand, to talk about the negative side of it, we do also have to acknowledge that Wizards of the Coast quality control is at an all-time low. All right, we're in a situation now where you will see multiple people. In fact, I just saw this on Reddit yesterday. Somebody posting, they have 3 discard cards, and it's basically a black card with the word discard printed across it. And we'll do a full video on those and their purpose and everything like that. But suffice it to say, those are never supposed to make it into the public's hands. But they're making it into the public hand all the time. In fact, I've seen a commander deck where instead of having this big foil card, they had a giant discard there. Absolute failure. So Wizards of the Coast quality control is just gone. They're not doing a good job of making sure that the garbage cards don't make it out of the facility. This should have never have happened. Now again, I am curious if more decks showed up like this. How many of these error decks actually ended up getting made? Now, there's supposed to be people who inspect the stuff before it gets sent out. So this should have been caught. An entire deck like this should have been caught. It's a situation where you genuinely wonder how they get away with making this level of error. Now, the upside is, again, it's Magic the Gathering, so misprints are actually a saleable commodity. So this guy actually will get a bunch of money for that. But at the end of the day, Wizards of the Coast shouldn't be making these errors in the first place. I thought it was an interesting thing to bring up. Now, shout out to the dude who told me about this. I'm not going to use your real name because I don't want to, I have no idea if you want your name given to the public, but you know who you are, my friend. I already thanked him on Facebook because he messaged me and said, hey, check this out. It's going crazy right now, because I was off doing other things. And I was like, oh, dude, oh my God, you're right. Thanks so much for cluing me in. I really appreciate that you guys enjoy what I do enough that you're like, hey, you know what? Here's something for him to cover. Speaking of coverage, what I've done, my friends, is I have posted a poll in the community section of my channel. So if you look up at the top, there's videos and other options when you go to my channel. One is community. What I'd like you to do is head over to the community tab of my channel, and there is a poll going on right now where I'm asking you about what kind of content you would like to see here. Would you like to see just strictly Magic the Gathering videos, or would you like a mix? Now, unlike before where I stepped away from Magic, I have no intention of stopping Magic the Gathering, but there are other things that could be interesting to talk about. And I've been doing Magic for so long now, just Magic, that it feels like everyone's going to think that's all that I do, and that may be what they expect. But I've done videos comparing Artifact to Keyforge, a number of different things on the channel. And so I'm genuinely curious, do you want just Magic content, or are you interested in a variety of content, including Magic the Gathering? Because I'm definitely not walking away from Magic. So please go engage in that poll, share your thoughts. Feel free to share your thoughts here too, but go vote on the poll specifically because I'm going to use that information. I want to give a big thank you to my patrons and channel members, especially those patrons who recently decreased their pledge but decided to stick around, because I take that as a sign of you love what I'm doing. And if it was anybody else, you'd be like, I'm completely cutting off the pledge, but instead you just reduced it so you can actually stay supporting me. So thanks very much for sticking around. It makes me feel very nice to have that support. To all of you, I say, remember.
And together we are